Hello everybody, this is Kelmen and this is going to be a let's play of the game Towns. I really haven't had that much time to really explore the dynamics of this game. I think I built like one little town, nothing really that impressive. So I think that this is going to be a pretty grand experiment. So hopefully I can make it pretty far. Hopefully my 11 villagers don't die off right away, that'd be cool. Um, okay, so I was just kind of getting a lay of the land, kind of seeing where everything is, and I'm seeing that over here there's the best levelest ground. So I think I'm gonna set up camp over near this giant orchard, which would be actually really neat. That's a lot of early game food, and there's bamboo and everything, a bunch of wheat. I don't see any jungles here, which probably means that there are no frogmen looking to eat my villagers, which is good. That's really good actually. Until I start going underground and I get into the dungeons, then there's some pretty hard NPCs, but and the sieges, of course. Can never forget about the sieges. Um, okay, yes, I think I'm gonna make my kingdom over here. We're gonna start off with some makeshift things. Why don't we move all of our villagers? Because our villagers are actually on the other side of the map, so this is going to be a kind of an adventure for them. All right, so what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to make it so they are going to just chop down a forest over here, because killing trees is just kind of part of this game. Okay, so I'm going to chop all this down. Okay, and I need to make a stockpile for raw materials so they actually know where to put the wood that they're going to be gathering. There's that. Ah, that bush was in the way. Okay, so now, as you can see, all my little villagers, where are you guys? Okay, all these little villagers are just gonna kind of take the quickest little route. They have a little train going, I guess, running past some chickens and stuff. And then they're all gonna go right over here, and because I cut down at least 11 trees. Every worker is actually gonna have a duty that they're gonna be doing. If I didn't have 11 trees, then there'd be some people still over here in this little corner, which just is no good. I mean, I guess there are these little carnivorous plants that do kind of make your guys take a little bit of damage, but nothing too serious. Okay, so there we go. They're cutting down a forest, which is really neat, really good for us. And then a big problem with this game early on is that your food isn't automated, and everyone does take food. They actually have a hunger bar, turns to eat. You can see it, and once that gets to zero, they need food, or else eventually they will just die, and that's just not good. So I'm gonna make a little and as I said, this is just temporary, so I mean this isn't gonna be that big of a deal. Where I put all this stuff, I'll probably delete it eventually. Anyways, okay, so I'm gonna till this. I'm actually gonna set up some wheat production so that I can start making some breads and stuff. I think bread, and then hopefully get some of these apples, make some apple pies. Everyone likes apple pie, so sounds like a plan. Okay, and why don't actually while we're doing that, we'll set up a little carpentry right over here, and then a masonry right next door, because they need to be close because they do a lot of things that require each other. And then right next to all of this, in the kind of in the center of everything, we're gonna put a little bakery because that's where we're going to make all of our breads. We're going to turn it into these amazing apple pies. Actually, all right, so one thing that I'm going to do while everyone's gathering all this stuff, which is really neat, it's really cool that they are doing that. I'm going to make a little, actually, okay, I'm going to make a raw food stockpile right over here near the materials, because who doesn't like wood next to the raw food? And then I'm going to actually make a couple containers of prepared food, right near the bakery. Actually, let's make three containers. Okay, so now what the oh wow, they can't because they need to make a carpentry bench. Okay, so we're gonna start with that actually, and then everyone who's not making that carpentry bench, why don't we go over here and why don't we harvest some of these because we need apples and we need I think these are pear trees. Yep, let's get some pears, some apples, and we have a pretty decently sized orchard over here. One thing I'm going to want to do fairly soon is move all these apple trees, or not move them, I guess, but change some of these apples into apple seedlings, which is pretty neat. And actually, why don't I'm going to do that right now, just because I'm thinking about it, and I'll probably forget later. So chop down that tree, and then I want you guys to till some ground right over here. There we go. And we're going to turn this into an apple orchard. So what they're going to do is they're going to pick up all these apples and they're going to turn them into these little grass-looking things. And it's kind of weird. Apple trees really don't look like that at the beginning. So I don't know. One of the negative things about this game, I guess. Okay, so there we go. So now, see, they're running over here. They're going to gather all these little apples, and they're going to put them down, and hopefully that works. Okay, actually, and while I'm over here, why don't I create... I'm going to do half of it now, and then I have to tell these people to physically gather all of this wheat because they will not just think to do it by themselves. Very needy people. And as I said, there are no jungles, so I'm really not too worried about them getting eaten by the frog people. Which is actually a really big plus because that really stinks. You'll pretty much tell them to do some stuff manually, and you'll like run out of materials near your place, and then they'll run on the other side of the map and get themselves killed, which is not good for anybody, especially the villagers because they just got eaten by a frog person. So, okay, so there we go. Hopefully they're all gathering all these wheat. And again, they put them into these little seedlings. See, that looks more accurate to me. Yeah, I mean that kind of reminds me of wheat at the beginning. Okay, so okay, so we have some pears. Okay, so they have prepared. They don't have prepared food bottles. One sec. I forgot that I needed the carpentry bench for that. I believe. Wood detailer. Okay, so we actually need the wood detailer, and I think for the wood detailer we need to get some stone. So what I'm gonna tell them to do is they're gonna mine up all this stone above ground, which will be really neat. And eventually I can actually tell them to go over here and mine up this. It's not really first priority, so. Okay, so now that we do have some stone, as you can see, it requires 1 stone to make a wood detailer. Now that we have that, though, we can successfully do that. Why don't you guys harvest this little wheat over here? And there we go, that's nice. Okay. Okay, so after they make that wood detailer and they harvest this, we have a bunch of people just sitting around, which probably isn't good. Another thing that we actually need to build, though, is a... Why don't we build a dining hall? Oh, no. Zones. Oh, not a balcony. Oops. Dining hall. I think it is right here. Okay. So we're going to build the dining hall right next door to the bakery, just because it'll make it really easy to go to and fro. To and from. Okay, so after this guy is finished making his... What's this guy's name? After Taryn finishes making this wood detailer, he's kind of slow at his job. Okay. Okay, there we go. We got our wood detailer. So now we're going to make a mason bench. Oh, because what? Oh, I need to put it in the masonry, not the bakery. That would make sense. Okay, and why don't we finally set up these prepared food barrels I've been talking about so much. Okay, there's that. Another thing we're going to do is we are going to I don't want to destroy it. Oh, maybe I can't. It must be I cannot pick up these apple bushes and put them over here. The people just can't fathom that. So what I'll tell them to do is go over here and gather this giant orchard, this giant forest, because that'll kind of have us set for a while. Like I said, one of the main problems early on is just not having enough food for people. And that just really kind of puts your place at a disadvantage because people will starve, and starved people tend to not work, which is not good. I'll put a little stockpile here until they finish these barrels. Okay. Okay, so now that we have all this stuff kind of in production, not really going too quick, but going quick enough, what we're going to do is we are going to finish. Okay, well, the masonry's finished. Okay, so what's the first thing that we want to do in this game? Let's think. Let's just plan this out. Let's just do a little recon. So what I think is I want to make all this big island over here on the right, on the left rather, sorry about that. I want to make this just a giant fort. And inside it's going to be all these little townies, houses. I'll have to cut down this mountain. That's going to be a pain. This one too. And then yeah, that'll be neat. And then I'll chop this down. So we'll only, all right, so what we'll do is we'll only have this little mountain in the way as a way between our village and the rest of the world. So pretty much whenever a siege does come, and they will come, they'll have to go all the way over here and go through this little area, and hopefully I'll make like some soldiers around here. That'd be cool. Okay, okay. Um, so as I was saying, I have played towns before, but it wasn't really that solid of a playthrough. Everything was kind of thrown about. I really didn't have a plan going in because I really didn't know what they did. A couple of really cool features that they did add was these the jobs function. So you can pretty much tell the people what to do and what not to do, which is really helpful because before, like I said, they did not have that. So what they would do is you would tell your townies to kind of do one thing, and then everyone would quit everything else they were doing. They would quit all their production. They would quit everything, and they would do that one thing. And if it was too big of a task, like if you built like a wall around your city, by the end everyone would be starving and not doing anything but building that wall, and it's kind of a pain. I'm really glad they fixed that. Okay. So now that we have the wheat, what we're going to do is we are going to make it's not there. We're going to make a mill. We're going to put the mill, two mills, why don't we put two, right between the bakery and this hummus field. Hummus and grass, the wheat field, sorry. Okay. We finished our little apple orchard, as you can see, which is really neat. Um, that's cool. And we have some apples in here. It's really cool. All right, so why don't we manage the stockpile? Tell them to not put any apples in here. So they'll take all these apples that they were recently going to put in here, and they're going to put them inside these barrels. And I'm going to make it so they don't put any pears in there, and they don't put any pears in here because I want apple pies. And one really neat thing, actually, we'll make one that's just pears. But we have an apple orchard, so it makes sense to make it so it's more apples over here than pears, because the pears are kind of going to run out. Once I start chopping down all these trees over here, they're going to start running out. So, okay, people are sleeping on the ground. Eventually, I'm going to have to make some rooms for them, but not quite yet. Okay, so there's that. Why don't we... Okay, I'm going to make some raw food barrels because this wheat actually counts as raw food, and I'm going to put it right next to the mills. So what they're going to do is they're going to take the wheat from this field, they're going to do it and they're going to put it in these barrels, and then once they run out of actual food, they're going to take it from the barrels, make it in a flour, hopefully in the mill, and then bake it. That's the end goal. But in order to bake, I need to make baker's oven, and then I need to make a baker's table. Looks like we are all out of stone though, so what we're going to do is we are actually going to go, here we go, this little quarry. So I'm going to tell the people to pretty much, no, that's a little too high. There we go. So I'm going to tell them to kind of take out this from the top down, every layer, until it's ground layer, so that the kingdom's kind of flat, because it's kind of a pain when everything's really, really tall, because it just doesn't look good. Okay, people are still sleeping on the floor. It's not really that good. Another thing that we could do is build a forge. Actually, once after we chop down these trees. No, chop down trees. Okay, so they're gonna chop down all these trees, and then I'm gonna put a forge right over here, which will be really neat. And then I'll make like a little soldier guy who's actually gonna be. I'm gonna put him as a supervisor, and he yells at everyone because they're sleeping, and then they work faster and harder, which is just good for everybody. Okay, I really don't need to make the forge. I just want to give him some armor though, because you really, I don't know, it's kind of bad to have I don't actually think I needed to make the forge because I can't even make an anvil. It's kind of bad to have a soldier without any stuff, you know? So I'm going to tell him to make all this, and then I'm going to give him, let's go back, a weapon. We have some stone. Why don't we make a stone mace? There we go. That's pretty serious. That'll scare some people, right? Okay, so now that we have all this stuff back up, what I'm gonna finish is this little wheat field. I'm going to tell them to plant wheat over here, and then I'm going to tell them to harvest. No, not that. Oh, gather. I'm gonna tell them gather, not harvest. All of this. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna go and they're gonna take this wheat and they're gonna put it aside, probably throw it on the floor because that's what townies do. There it is. I knew it was gonna come. But then after they're done with all these tasks of getting these the apples and everything, they're gonna pick them back up off the ground once they're all dirty, and they're gonna throw them over here on this field so that everyone can eat dirty wheat, which is kind of cool, I guess, for them. Okay, and another thing, actually, one thing that's really good is meat pies. If you go to food, I think it's under baking. See, meat pies, they heal 100%, whereas bread only heals 75. So I think I'm gonna make a lot of meat pies. Yeah, yeah, because apple pies, they only give that. All right, so there we go. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to make meat pies. Okay, so what I'm gonna have to, all right, why don't we just get that, get that started. Get some pens set up for those. Here we go, some pigs, some cows, unifowl. I think the unifowls are in the desert, so I don't think I'm gonna have any of those. Shooting beatings, maybe. Oh no, they're in the jungle. So no, see, I'm only gonna have the chicken. Probably I'm gonna have badgers because eventually you can actually make them into like an arena, and you can fight badgers, which is really really barbaric. But it's entertains all your little townies, so they get really happy. It's kind of sad, but it's okay, I guess. Okay, and then we got cows who go moo and oink oink. Well, they even have the little. Huh. I guess they don't know what a shooting beating makes. What sound? Okay, so why don't we? Oh, yep. Here we go. Why don't we make? Okay, I see a lot of cows. Okay, so we're gonna make. I don't see any pigs actually. Not over here. Anyone see any pigs? Okay, so I'm just gonna make like 4 cow farms. 1, 2, 3, 4, and put them in really close-knit areas. This is probably bad for the cows, but it's fine. Oh, there's a pig. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cancel you. What? No, I guess I can't cancel that. Okay. Well, anyways, all right. I'll just make a pig farm over here. There we go. Sheep pens, which is cool. I'll make one of those eventually. I actually haven't made a sheep pen before. Actually, really don't know what sheep do. I'm guessing they make wool, obviously. I really don't know if you can eat sheep, but okay. And one thing I really just hate about having all these cows and stuff is that eventually they get out and then they start roaming around your entire civilization and they just kind of like this wild cow, except they're not wild and they're just like everywhere. Like it's really really annoying because there's literally too many. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little walled off area. This is gonna be our first little project, and I am going to wall them off. I'm gonna make it a little wider because eventually I'm gonna want more farms over there. So I'm gonna make it over. Here we go. Yeah, and if that's too narrow, that's fine. And over here, actually, darn it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cancel this one of these, and I'm gonna put a door there. Okay. Back. I think doors under utilities. No. Furniture. There we go. Doors under furniture. And I'm gonna put a little half door. Yeah. There we go. I'm gonna put a little half door right there. Wood. I need more wood. Wow, the people used all the wood. Building the fence. Okay, so if I just chop down all of this, that's gonna keep my people busy for a really long time. And then hopefully after we get this done, that'll be really neat. Oh, I need a supervisor. Who am I gonna make into a supervisor? Taryn. We know Taryn, right? So why don't all right, I'm gonna make you into the supervisor, Taryn. You're gonna be the bully of the town. Telling people what to do and everything. You're gonna pick up all that. So what I did was I told him to auto equip all this stuff. Oh, there. Okay, that's not good. And I'm gonna tell him to convert to soldier. So apparently, see over here, they ran into a tree spirit. Tree keeper, not spirit. Sorry. And what they are is they look just like normal trees. Like this could be a tree spirit for all I know. And that, but eventually they this girl's getting eaten. Ugh. But eventually, what they do is they, why don't we gather these so that you guys don't die? Because they're eating all my villagers. All right, tree spirits. What they do is they look like normal trees, and then whenever you start chopping them down, they just get really angry, and they pretty much just beat up your workers. And this guy's sleeping right next to this girl's body, which is really bad. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, finish this. Hopefully, once they finish this, they can we can keep all these pigs and stuff inside because I really don't want them running all over the place. So that's their first priority. But yeah, okay. Nothing's inside the raw food barrel. That's okay. And over here, what you can tell them to do is you can automate their work. So I'm going to tell them that I always want 5 wheat. So they're always going to be gathering 5 wheat. And while I have some apples, I always want 5 apples. There we go. That's fine. Eventually, I should really put this sugarcane into stuff because then I can make cakes, I think. I think I saw that I can make cakes. Cake, it will boost the happiness of your citizens, which is just really neat, you know? And then I think you can make cookies and stuff. Yeah, there we go. That's neat. Okay. I don't have any bananas. I have pears. I think pears do the same thing as apples, though. Yep. Not really that big of a deal. Okay. And then I'm going to tell them to always be making wheat too. Or flour too. Because you take the wheat that you got and then you turn it into flour. And then with that flour, they can make their apple pies. I'm actually going to tell them just to make the apple pies right now because we can. See, they're already going to make one apple pie. That's neat. Okay. So after they're all done doing that, eventually I'm going to designate like people just to cook and stuff. But since I only have 9 workers, because one of them died and I converted one of them to a soldier, it's really not practical at this stage. Oh, wow. Okay. Actually, we need to get rid of that. Actually, manage stockpile. Okay, I'm going to, I think it's not in the hides. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it so that that corpse is not inside of our, maybe miscellaneous? Yeah, there we go, just normal corpse. So this corpse is not inside of our raw material compound because they spawn ghosts, and the ghosts are just really powerful. But they give you really good drops. Like they drop really neat stuff, so I don't want to destroy it right now. I know what I'll do. I'm gonna make over here in this little corner next to the water and everything. I'm gonna make a stockpile, and I'm going to make it into just a raw materials. And what it's gonna do, I'm gonna manage it, disable everything except I'm going to enable all these corpses. So this will be like our little graveyard for now. Later on, what we're going to want to do is we're just going to want to bury them all, but as it stands, it's really not that big of a deal. We have apple pies in here. We're actually full on all those. Wow, they've never filled up the prepared food barrels like that before, so that's really neat. Now that I have a bunch of food. Wow, yeah, these guys are good to go. Okay, so see, now the corpse is over here. Whenever a ghost does spawn, I'll just have to send my little wooden soldier over there, and he'll take care of the business. So he's yelling at people already. He's already getting stuff done, which is good. So we have some apple pies sitting on the floor, which is it's whatever. Okay, so all right. Once they finish this fence, that'll be good. Good to go. Good to go. So why don't we chop down? Actually, why don't we chop down all of these? Chop. There we go. Chop them down. Why don't we chop down these trees too? Because they're in the way. And as we expand this this little farm, see, now look, see there's cows, and there's only 2 of them, 3 of them right now, and there's a pig. But eventually they'll just go everywhere, and they'll be roaming like stomping on our food, and that's just not good. Nobody wants to eat cow feet apple pie. I mean, that's just a mouthful to say. Anyways, so yeah, I'm just gonna have them closed off, and there's gonna be like a bazillion cows in here that just won't be able to get out, but that's fine. It should work out, I think. Okay, so actually we have a pretty good production going right now, and I think that this is gonna be a good place to stop for the first Let's Play of Kelmenville is what I'm gonna call it. Um, and yeah, I think that these are some good founding members. I'm really happy that we have the people that we have. I mean, yeah, yeah, they're good workers. They're good workers. They know sometimes to not put the apple pies in barrels. I think there's one apple pie. No, there's not even an apple pie. Never mind. These guys are just bad workers. All their apple pies are in barrel or are uh, sitting on the ground. So it's not good. Actually, before we leave, I'm just gonna make it so the only thing allowed in here is going to be apple pies because apple pies. And yeah, and meat pies. So pies. This is gonna be our little pie place. So there we go. All right. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Tune in next time, and hopefully we can spawn a little ghost, and we can send our little wooden soldier over there, and we can get some pretty cool drops. All right. Thanks.